Alright, so I was going to show you guys this here. On your VW, this is how you can get your headliner done. I already tore it off of here, that's why it looks so terrible. But it's kind of neat, these little handles actually have a little stop. Now, only Volkswagen makes this kind of stuff. It's a little stop to hold this thing in place, so it's kind of spring-loaded. So if it's actually right there. That, oh, it broke. It just broke off. Oh, funny. But yeah, it has a little stop there to hold the handle, so the whole handle can't go back up. But it's funny how they have that kind of thing. Let's take a look here. The next step is take these handles off. Yeah, they make something that has that extra design, but is designed to fail too at the same time. Good job, Volkswagen. You do the next little thing here. You can pick off this little guy. You take these things here out, and there's a little keeper in there, and we'll find it in a minute. Show you. All right, so this just has one screw. This just pulls out, right? These here just kind of pull out, and then there's a clip behind here for the light. How did you get the little clip off of those?
It came down the opposite way.
It
flipped it this way.
Oh yeah, it flips up from this way, the opposite of what you'd think. Then there's two screws here underneath here. This little thing just pops out. Just pops out. You got two screws there. You got a couple more screws, and then you just drop this whole thing down. There's that. There's a plug, and then you got, I think there's two more right here. There's one more right there. Yeah, I did that, yeah.
I'll show you guys.
Yeah, I did that before. I've done this actually, this particular thing. Now, these guys here, did we figure these out yet? There's a little clip, and I forget there's some kind of thing. It has a leash on it. Oh, this one's got, yeah, it should be just behind there. There should be a screw. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you can't really.
That's the clip.
Yeah, the clip comes out. Comes all the way out like that. On those side pieces. So this thing here has, you have to push this in and then bring it down. If it's up all the way, it'll block that. So you bring this down, then you can see where the screw is behind in there. There's a screw in there with a Torx. Everything's Torx. Everything's T20s. You just drop this down, take the one screw out. There's one of these little things here. You just pop this out of here like that, and then there's a screw behind it. Take the screw out, and then there's just these little guys here. Those little white things. One right there, and then there one stayed in it. So you got to put the little white things back on the pillar. Little Torx you take out right there. Like on the other side, same thing. The mirror, you just grab it and turn it, and it just comes right off. Hang on a second. Here, so these little clips here. Jeez, how come the lighting all changed on this thing? These little clips here, you have to take them out wherever they got stuck in, and then put them back in here before you put it back together. So that's how they need to be in place. So I got one. Oh, looks like there's one that was missing, and you put them back in these little carriers, and then put it back together. When you get ready to put it back together, you have to make sure you do that. What I use to do that is I grab it with a pair of dikes carefully, and then just kind of pry it out a little bit, pull it off. Let's see if I can do this one. So I get behind it with the dikes and just use them, pry it off. Alright, so these panels here, what you do is you just grab a hold of, you reach underneath the rubber right here and grab this end of the panel and just pull it out on both sides, and then there'll be one clip. I'll show you where it is. That's where the clip is. You can just slide it out of the little, see how it's slotted? You can just slide it out of there and then just use my method here with the dikes to remove it and put it back in when you go to put it together. Oh, this thing here, the dome light just pops off of there. You just grab a hold of it, pull on it, it falls right off in your hands. And this thing here, the actual dome light itself, there's a clip right here. Push down on that, push down on this one, and it just pops out. It comes out like this. Then it comes out like that. Alright, so this back piece back here, just pull it down, it just unclips. It has little clips on it. There we go. The side piece is the same thing as they just have what, one or two of those little clips.
Yeah, one screw and a couple clips.
One screw and a couple clips. So across the back, there's a frame that's attached to the headliner. We'll look at it when we get it out, and there's 6 screws across the back. Make sure you get all 6 of them. Right, so the difficult part is really to try to get the seat out. I mean, to get the headliner out of the car. It looks to me like, from playing around with this a little bit, the best way is probably take the passenger seat out and then slide it through the passenger door. I'll let you know when we get it out. So to get the seat out, you got to pull all these harness out of this right here. So if you're taking the seat out like us, I think it might be easier. Most of them are pretty straightforward, except for this weird one, which is probably for the airbag, and it has like a little thing like right here on the side. See that? Little clip thing on the side. Pull that thing up and then it comes out. The rest of them, I think, were pretty straightforward. You just unclip the, push the little button or whatever. There was one I think we had to pull up. Yeah, this little, push the little clip in, right there. I mean, this thing barely comes out of here if it comes out this. It looks like it'll make it out this way. I don't know any other way I could see of how this would ever get out of here. But comes out this hole, looks like to me, corner to corner. You just have to just wiggle it and then pull it straight and get it out that edge. Let's take a look here where I've got it positioned here on the top of the dash, and then this thing's way up in the corner as far as it'll go. We'll see if we can get it out. Well, after looking at it, we figure that when they built this car, they must have slid these in with the windshield out. But if you're not going to be removing your windshield, then I doubt you probably would. Then you'll probably have to take it out the way we did. Now, since you're doing it that way, you know, you can scratch some stuff. You know, it is a super big fight to get out of here. So if you're thinking it's just going to just come right out of here and be easy, it's not. Look at all the stuff that's on this headliner. And you got all this stuff here all over it. You got wiring harness connected to everything. You know, you got this thing here. This actually isn't supposed to come off, so we're going to have to reattach that. You got these lining pins here. My guess is that they put this in the car with the windshield out when they built the car. So if you really want to do it the quote-unquote right way, maybe take the windshield out. But yeah, I doubt you're going to do that, because then you'll need another windshield guy there to do that and all this other stuff. You're looking at several $100s to get it out of here, just to reupholster it and put it back in. So am I going to be able to get in perfectly clean without? No, I think it's going to be a little difficult. So we'll go ahead and reupholster this thing now and show you how to do that part of it. I'll show you that in the next section. Things here, if they come loose, you can just put them in place and take some silicone. 100% silicone is probably one of the best glues there is, and let it and tape it into place, and then probably let it sit overnight. I mean, I don't know if we're going to end up doing that. We may not use silicone because it just takes so long to dry, but that'll hold it in place if these things come loose. Which, don't be surprised if you have to do something like that, because getting it out of here and then getting it back in is going to be one heck of a fight with that, even with the door off, and the door off is definitely required to get that thing out of place. So then I got to glue this thing back in place too, because it wasn't really supposed to come out, because there's some clips underneath here there's these things that go on here that actually hold this in place in the car. So you'll kind of have to figure that out when you get there. It's one of those things that can't really explain other than the name on the hood that tells you everything. It's Volkswagen. That's why sometimes they can really suck. Alright, so anyway, we'll go ahead and get this stuff cleaned up. Take off this glue. I'll flip it over. It looks like it's some sort of a hot glue, but if you use hot glue is going to get too hot in a headliner. It's just going to come right off. Next thing you got to do is you just got to use your wire brush and your drill and carefully remove all the glue. I mean, get it down to where it's like this, where everything that's kind of loose comes off. So now where it's about like that, you're not going to get all the glue off, but all the old foam and all that stuff has to come out. You got to get it down to a firm surface so that your glue will adhere to something. Otherwise, if you just put the glue on over here, that's going to come off. This part's going to just come off, just delaminate, and everything's just going to come off, and you'll be doing it again. One of the things that comes in really handy is one of these panel stands from Harbor Freight Tools. And these are just those standard panel stands to do your headliner. They're like less than 20 bucks. Alright, so it doesn't look like we did much, but we did. Gonna blow this off a little bit better. Blow it off with the air really good a couple different times. Try and get all the little crumbs off of there. And then you lay your material out. So you just lay your material out so you got plenty hanging over on all corners. Because sometimes when you're moving it around, you put it on, it'll move a little bit, so you might need a couple inches all the way around it. On this one, it just ended up being quite a bit more than a couple inches the way it laid out. So then what you do is you just flip it over halfway. Some people try and do this the whole thing at once, and you can't do that. You got to do like half of it. So I just take the material, fold it halfway like that. Okay, right up the middle, best you can. And then just start spraying glue on there. Now the glue that I'm going to use is not in a spray can. It's in the spray gun. This one right here. This is the glue I'll use right here. Industrial grade. And then you stick that in a regular, get your little cheapy Harbor Freight Tools spray gun. Fill it up, just start juicing it. Alright, so sometimes just getting the glue out of the bucket, it's easier to have some of these Dixie cups around, dip it in there, put it in there, that way you don't make a mess trying to pour this stuff. So when you set your spray gun up, you turn your fan all the way in tight towards the pinpoint, all the way in, and then have this open as much as you can. Just start spraying it on there. Alright, so you put your glue on. Put on a heavy amount of glue on both surfaces. So you put some on there, and you put some on the foam, nice and even. You almost can't go too heavy with a headliner. You're not going to want it to fall down. But you can go too heavy. And you need it to be not dry, but semi-dry, and not wet when you stick it on. So if it's too dry, you wait till it's completely dry and then you try to put the glue on, it's not going to work. If you make it not dry enough, it won't stick. So once it's just right, you put it down and it won't come back off. You'll be done. In fact, you better make sure you get it in the right position, because that's why I do fold it in half. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you might never get it off. To reposition it. Alright, so we got both surfaces glued. I flipped it over and then I laid it all out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show the other side because I got in the middle of something. I had to finish this thing up. And what I did is, before I cut this part back out, if you happen to pull this piece out, or some of these, I used this black silicone. I'll show you which one I like. This VersaChem Mega Black. It's super strong. It's one of the strongest silicones I've ever dealt with. And what I did is I took this bracket and then just silicone it back in place before I cut this out. So that if there's any leakage, anything pops around the edge, like if you get that stuff on your headliner, you ain't getting it back off. So if you do happen to get some glue on your headliner, I'll show you what you get it off with. I use this Pure Citrus air freshener. Yeah, it's not glue remover, and that usually takes the glue right off. Or you can use some of the acetone. You can try that. Try both of these. Do a sample area always, because if it discolors it, don't come back to me and tell me I fucked up your headliner. You check it first. So then I'm going to glue all these things in here. There'll be a separate video. I'll show the completed headliner in the car, so it should turn out all right. But I'm gonna let this set overnight, and then I'm gonna put, I think there's some clips I need to put back on here that got broken. A couple of those things happen sometimes when you're taking these things out. If you're really careful, you might be able to figure out how to unclip that thing, but mine just didn't come out. So I went ahead and just removed them, and then I'll just clip them back on here, and I'll put the headliner back in with those clips. I'll show you what it looks like when it's in, and good luck with your headliner if you do it yourself. I would say this thing is on the harder side. I've done other headliners, and this one was pretty much one of the hardest ones to get out of the car, and one of the hardest ones to do because of the indentations and stuff like that where the handles are. Gotta use a lot of glue. We had an episode, the glue gun ended up plugging up in the crappy Harbor Freight, and I ended up just tossing in the trash because it's really hard to clean that glue out of the guns. So that's one of the reasons I buy. A lot of times I'll buy the spray cans, which this is the newest spray can they have. Actually, here it is. Here, Sprayway makes a spray glue, and they told me this one's really good. So I'm hoping it is. But I took a brush and applied the glue to the headliner, and I took this and sprayed it on the actual material. So, and then sandwiched the two together. So, because you can't really brush the glue on the headliner material, it doesn't work that well. But I can brush it on the headliner itself. You can use a little chip brush, one of these here. Chip brushes, I get them at Harbor Freight in a big bundle of them for $6 or $7. I get like 36 of them or something. So, but you can use one of those to put it down too if you want. If you're frustrated with your spray gun like I was. So anyway, I'm gonna toss that gun. It's already plugged up enough times. So they're cheap, $15. Buy another one. All right, so that's it for the headliner. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Look for the video of the headliner in the car. Talk to you in the next video. Bye.